In the midst of life's failures, criticisms, and setbacks, what would you do if you knew you had nothing to fear? This is the quiet, profound message of the first decan of Pisces, represented by the Eight of Cups. You are safe. There is nothing to fear. Pisces and the 12th house it rules in astrology is often misunderstood as only hidden suffering or self-undoing. But at its heart, it is the house of universal compassion, the place where the ego dissolves so empathy and unconditional love can flow. Pisces is feminine water, nurturing, boundaryless, deeply feeling. Neptune, its ruler, elevates love to cosmic compassion. It rules the 12th house in astrology and is considered the sign where Venus reaches its highest expression, embodied here by the High Priestess. Alchemically, the 12th house is the house of spirit, the silent vessel where the unseen becomes felt. The High Priestess, with her lunar and spiritual aspects, is the tarot symbol for Pisces. She is the holy guardian angel behind the veil, unseen but present, holding space, guarding hidden truths, and whispering Spirit's message that all is well. She is, along with Neptune's anima, the feminine guardianship of Pisces and the 12th house. Neptune rules the deep inner ocean. The High Priestess is the serene sentinel protecting the threshold, reminding the soul it is eternally held. This co-rulership is why the sign feels so restful yet quietly protective. Nothing can truly harm what is already whole. These are qualities that rule all 30 days of Pisces. But let's get specific to the first decan, represented by the Eight of Cups. In the Rider-Waite image, a cloaked figure walks away from 8 upright golden cups under an eclipsed moonlit sky. Staff in hand, they head toward distant mountains and a flowing river. Golden Dawn calls this card the Lord of Abandoned Success. We built it, attached deeply, lived the stories we told ourselves, but now a quiet soul calling says let go, walk away, and seek what's more authentic, beyond the known. This card is pure first decan Pisces, the moment of deep surrender, dissolving rigid containers so the feminine magnetic pull can finally activate and draw the next horizon closer. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what you built with your own hands, not because it was wrong, but because it is finished. In the silence of that departure, the soul hears the call of what is truly next. David R. Hawkins, in his famous book, Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, explained that letting go is not giving up. It is surrendering what no longer serves to make room for what spirit has already prepared. Unless ego boundaries and old identities are dissolved, the feminine magnetic manifestation engine stays stuck or drifts in endless fog. The receptive pull cannot fully activate until those rigid containers release. Here Saturn speaks loudly. The planet advises us that an inability to let go of limiting containers casts a long shadow. Its negative expression is an inability to release and trust in spirit, that deep, quiet knowing that everything is held, that the next horizon is safe. This block shows up as the famous Piscean escapism traits, potentially in substance abuse or excessive fantasy games, books, or television watching. The Piscean shadow also shows up as victim mode, or zero boundaries in codependency. In shadow, Pisces compassion slides into self-sacrifice or rescuing people who don't ask for it. Saturn's influence here forms boundaries around our old identities and stories. If they grow too rigid, they block new dreams from entering, and the feminine magnetic pull stays dormant. Nothing new can take form until the container itself is dissolved. Only through that deep surrender, the true letting go, does space open again. The fog lifts, and the walk toward the soul's next horizon becomes possible once more. This is the heart of the first decan. Saturn doesn't just teach boundaries, it teaches when to drop them so the spirit can move freely. In its light expression, Saturn grounds Neptune's cosmic love into mature, lasting empathy. Saturn here teaches us to put healthy boundaries around trusting the universe, reminding us that no matter what, faith comes first. All energies carry their opposite polarity, the light and the shadow, and Saturn in Pisces is no exception. This is its shadow side. Saturn's limits can transform Neptune's gentle fog into heavy depressive weight or rigid isolation, and fear is often the spark that ignites it. The quiet empath who once absorbed everyone's pain and trusted the universe completely now faces repeated disappointments. Instead of flowing with Neptune's surrender, fear whispers, "If I stay open, I'll be destroyed." So they build walls, withdraw in silence, replay old wounds, and sink into melancholy where joy feels impossible. The 12th house lesson is clear. Saturn teaches healthy boundaries, but when fear buries faith, Neptune's fog thickens into something heavier. In that murk, the priestess falls silent. This shadow polarity reminds us that Saturn's protective structure, when gripped by fear, turns from container into cage, until faith returns and the walls soften once more. People born in this decan, February 19th through February 28th, often come across as resilient visionaries. In their light expression, they release outdated attachments with compassionate grace and channel deep intuition into genuine healing service for others. Sensitive idealists, they approach life practically and constructively, blending Saturn's objective logic, analysis, and farsightedness with fairness and justice in relationships. Mentally intuitive with a keen sense of values, they are accurate, meticulous workers with a gift for detail. On the shadow side, they carry heavy emotional weight, slipping into melancholy or quiet self-undoing escapes that hold them back. They can become intolerant, narrow-minded, self-righteous, and unfriendly, ultra-critical of others' ideas and actions, taking life too seriously, leaning toward pessimism, and getting trapped in shortened vision. They waste energy on small details that inhibit intelligence, and their sympathy can turn destructive, leading to cruelty, bitterness, and resistance to new ideas. Saturn's influence here is the key turning point. When it works in shadow, it becomes a prison of old identities and stories, the very ones we've built our lives around. We keep replaying the same narratives, clinging to who we used to be or what we used to believe, and that repetition creates drift. Instead of moving forward, we float in circles, stuck in the fog of "this is just how it is" or "I'll never change." The 12th house fog thickens, the high priestess's voice gets muffled behind the veil, and faith feels distant. But in its light expression, Saturn becomes the container, a steady vessel that holds space for new stories and visions. It gives structure to Neptune's boundless dreams so they don't just dissolve, they actually take form. To balance this critical personality, cultivate mindful detachment. Practice observing thoughts and judgments without immediate reaction, allowing space for curiosity and openness. This shifts the analytical edge into discerning wisdom, softening rigidity while honoring the gift for detail. Perhaps this is why the High Priestess is the tarot symbol for Pisces. She represents the quality of stillness, quiet observation, and unshakable trust. She does not grasp or judge. She watches and holds the space where faith remains intact, even when the mind wants to control or criticize. Copernicus, born February 19th, let go of the entire old story the world had bought into. The Earth-centered universe everyone accepted as absolute truth. He walked away from that built illusion, dissolving centuries of attachment to a comfortable but false cosmology, and stepped toward a higher cosmic truth. Pure Eight of Cups magic, abandoning success in the old paradigm for something soul-deep and revolutionary. Seal, born February 19th, channels that same letting go energy through his music. Listen to his song Letting Go. Lines like, "White flag, I surrender. Maybe now we'll find a way." Capture the moment of raising the flag on attachments while trusting a higher path even when it hurts. He turns personal shadows, the lupus scars, and the emotional pain he's openly carried, into anthems of surrender and transcendent compassion. Next, we will discuss the divination meaning of the Eight of Cups. Please take a moment to subscribe. I really appreciate it. In divination, when we pull the Eight of Cups, it is a call to walk away toward the soul's next horizon, to release blocks and deeply surrender the old narratives that no longer serve. The real inquiry is into Saturn's containers, those rigid boundaries, outdated identities, and stories we've clung to that once felt solid but now trap us in drift. Which ones have become prisons of repetition? Letting go creates space for Neptune's dreams and visions to actually take root and breathe. Advice: listen to the quiet knowing of the High Priestess inside you. She is your holy guardian angel in disguise, the one holding space behind the veil. Her message from Spirit is simple and unwavering. All is safe. There is nothing to fear. That certainty is what carries you forward. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from what you built with your own hands, not because it was wrong, but because it is finished. When this card is reversed, you're stagnant. You are stuck in a situation, relationship, job, or emotional pattern that's no longer good for you or fulfilling. You remain frozen in place, gripping those familiar containers, the rigid boundaries, old identities, and stories that once gave you a sense of security. Because the fear of the unknown is so strong that you simply cannot trust that letting go will lead to safety. Instead of surrendering to the deeper call, you double down on the known, convinced that if you release these attachments, everything will fall apart or leave you exposed. This reversal shows a lack of faith in the future, the belief that the universe will not catch you, that the soul's next horizon is dangerous rather than welcoming. Neptune's fog feels threatening instead of gentle. Saturn's containers feel restrictive rather than protective, and the High Priestess, your holy guardian angel behind the veil, seems silent or unreachable. The invitation in reversal is to recognize this mistrust as the true block. The message, all is safe, there is nothing to fear, gets drowned out by the inner voice saying, if I let go, I'll be lost.